So good morning, everybody.
Good morning, ma'am.
I am teacher. So good morning, sir. So last week, what was the last question we tackled? Ganito?
Metamorphic rocks.
Yes,
Metamorphic rock.
very good. Metamorphic. Beth, kinsay makahatag sa ako sa five kabuok factors for five important factors for the formation of metamorphic rock. Kinsa makahatag? At least one lang.
Hi, ma'am. Current rock, ma'am.
Oh,
Pressure, ma'am.
correct.
Pressure.
Pressure, time, parent track, pressure. Unsa pa to? Asa pa tong?
Temperature.
Ma'am.
Oh, yes, very
Temperature.
good.
Fluid.
Fluid. Oo. So the five factors of the formation of metamorphic rock is fluid, time, temperature, pressure, and parent rock as sa inyong gihatag. So, unsa ganito, last na lang niya question ha. Two types of metamorphic rock. Unsa to?
Foliated and
Foliated and unfoliated.
Itong duha ka types.
Foliated and unfoliated, ma'am.
Oh, very good. So today, we will be talking about kaning weathering. Makita ba ninyo ang PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. So, weathering weathering is a breakdown of rocks. It turns bedrock into sediment from big rocks to smaller rocks. Then let me ask you, kung paminawon ninyo ang word na weathering, what are the things that you can um, describe it? Sa inyo lang preview, sa inyo lang ani stock knowledge. What is weathering? Anybody?
weather, ma'am.
Weather? Na dili mo siya weathering is different from weather. Ako na lang explain ha. Weathering is the breakdown of rocks. It's not connected to the weather. Kwan siya, it is a process. Weathering is a process. It is not the weather that we all know of. So, weathering occurs inside. Inside meaning in place. Do not ever confuse weathering with erosion. Kay erosion is the movement of a particle from one place to another. So never confuse weathering with erosion. Um, Weathering goes all around us, but it seems like a slow, um, such a slow and subtle process that is easy to underestimate and its importance. Di ba, parehas ganina, nangutan ako, what is weathering for you? Ang giingon ninyo, ang nag-answer nga, weathering is connected sa weather. Di ba? It is such a simple process, but we don't know unsa jud na siya. Weathering is very important because without weathering, kanang yung mga nakikita nga bato dira, kanang mga lain-lain bato dira nga makita ninyo outside sa inyong mga balay, it will never happen if wala na. Puro sa na soil inyo makita if wala ng weathering. So, there are two types of weathering. Two types, remember, physical and chemical. Physical means, sakto, physical means kanang makita ninyo mo breakdown sa nga visible sa inyo. And chemical, it happens internally. Weathering means it just turns into the smaller piece of the rock. And chemical weathering means it involves chemical transformation of rock into one or more new compounds. Physical weathering is the most rough rapid in very cold or very dry environment. Breakdown of rocks and soils through mechanical effects of heat, water, ice, or other agents. Physical weathering is the most common ones kay kanang makita man gud mo siya. Unlike sa chemical weathering which is nga internally siya mahitabo. Mao na siya. Ang chemical weathering occur most rapid where the climate is wet and hot. It involves the chemical reaction of water, atmospheric pressure, gases, biologically produced chemicals with rocks and soil. So chemical weathering includes a lot of chemicals, minerals, and not to transform into a new one. So these are the types of physical weathering. Frost wedging, plant biological action, wind abrasion, water abrasion, ice abrasion, exfoliation, or pressure unloading. So when a rock undergoes mechanical or physical weathering, mechanical weathering or physical weathering, same na siya. It is broken into smaller and smaller pieces, each retaining the characteristics of the original rock. Kibali, no changes happen. Ni gamay lang yun sa, imagine nga, kanang cake, atong tungaon. Di ba naman siya mahimo o pan? Cake mo yapon siya, as is lang siya, pero ni gamay lang ang iyang size. That is what physical weathering means. So kani as you can see, describe daw ni anybody, can anybody describe kaning nasa picture? What can you see sa picture? Kanang ko lang, dili.
Ang rock, ma'am.
Oo, rock. So, nag-crack lang ang rock. Di ba walay nahitabo nga, nahimo siya glain nga sa rock, ang tikas na side. It just, nigamay lang yun siya. So, the first type is frost wedging. Kanya, tanawan ninyo, frost wedging means the freezing and thawing of water in cracks in the rock that causes alternate expansion and contraction of the rocks, eventually breaking them apart. Di ba di kita familiar with wedging? What is wedging? So I will explain it to you. So inani ha. So in cold places, init na siya, init or naay heat gyapon ana. So tibali, there will still be precipitation. The precipitation will give off, di ba, rain. In those places, katong tubig matagak will musulod siya sa mga cracks or crevices on the rock or on the place nga iyang gakatagakan. And when it becomes at night, kung magabi na, temperature drops below 0 degrees Celsius. Meaning, una-una water plus cold temperature, di ba? It will freeze. Will freeze siya. Pagka-morning na sad, it will become hot. So, there is a process of repetition of thawing and freezing, Hantod, the rock will degrade and mukrak siya. Mukrak siya kay huna-huna sige lang og freeze. So, madaot yun siya, mo-degrade siya. That is frost wedging. Tanaw, when the water freezes, it expands and breaks apart rocks. This is what happens. Muulan during the day, musulod ang water, gabi mo grabe ka cold ang gabi mo ni may tabo mag-crack ang rock. So the next one is plant action or biological action. With plant growth, the root system will increase in volume and cause cracks in the rock to expand. So according sa inyong picture nakita, can you see this process around your house? Babe, makitan ba ninyo sa inyong balay? Anybody? Ayun, napay tao?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Makita.
Wala. Or if kanang nakasalain lugar, di ba nakay makita in the cement or sa mga dagko nga bato in nature reserve parks, there will be, as you can see, plants growing, mga moss, mga trees, along the rock na mugawa siya. Mao ni siya ang plant action, biological action. With plant growth, the root system will increase in volume and cause cracks in the rock to expand. Imagine na, sa picture, there is a rock there is a tree nga ni tubo. What do you expect? Di ba mabuak yun? So that is what you call as plant action or biological action. Root action is when trees and plants break apart rocks by pressure in the roots. So the next one is wind abrasion. Wind abrasion means when wind causes sediments to have collisions or physical weathering results. So mauni siya ang nahitabo sa wind abrasion. As you can see, that rock sa una a few million years ago is full rock. Due to the wind, di ba? Due to wind bringing out particles, maigo ang rock. Di ba? Particles can be small or big. So if maigo niya tong dako nga rock, mapaksian din siya. That is wind abrasion. As you can see, there are parts that is still intact, or if I will infer is that is the part which is kana dako iyang murag baga pa iyang part mana siya. And the ones na na-circle sa tunga is the most affected sa wind. Maigo, mao na siya ang unang nga maigo. As you can see, wind charged with sand hits the rock and it polishes. Then mutuyok ka pod hantod nga may nagtuto siya na ay matangtang nga part sa rock until that previous picture will form. The next one is water abrasion. It occurs in moist and humid climates, produces round and angular sediments. Water is a very good, di ba mo bring siya og various substances like rocks in its flow. Once those various particles or things will hit another rock, di ba mabuak kasad siya. That is what happens with water abrasion. This is why angular siya. Padulong sa isa lang ka direction, dili kay ga-XX ang kanang forma sa mga rocks nga gaka-abrade. Angular gid siya. Kay one direction lang ang flow sa water. Aka pa mo kakita og flow sa direction, flow of water na isa pabalik, na isa padulong diri, di ba? One direction ang water abrasion. This is what you can see, very angular, flat ang rock. Next one is ice abrasion. This occurs in polar regions, specifically in glaciers, when sediments are trapped in the ice and scrape against the bedrock, forming striations. Ice can trap a lot of things. That's why when it breaks down, it brings those things that are trapped inside the ice, and when it collides with rocks, ma-abrade siya. Kibali, same as katong previous ones, is mabuak ang gaagian na rock. That is what ice abrasion means. We cannot really see ice abrasion here in the Philippines. We are located near the equator. This can only occur in the polar regions. Na, as glaciers move down a mountain slide, they transport sediments of all sizes. So, next one is the exfoliation or pressure unloading. Decrease in pressure that results from the removal of overlying rock. Top layers are removed, releasing pressure, and the underlying rocks then crack and fall apart. There are rocks that is murag siya ang gabind between the upper and lower part sa formation. Once those those part which is located above is unloaded, mo give up ang nasa ubos. This is what happens here, as you can see. As you can see on nara, exfoliation, expansion, exfoliation, daya, mag-remove of layers. It's like you're peeling an orange. That is what happens. So the next one is chemical weathering. So these are the types of chemical weathering: oxidation, hydration, hydrolysis, carbonation, leaching, or dissolution. As I've said ganina, what do you think is the major factor gani in chemical weathering? Anybody? Hello? Mapabay tao?
Ay, wait lang, ma'am.
Sige.
What is the... Ano sa itong question, ma'am?
What is the major factor that causes chemical weathering? What do you think? Na nasa sangalan?
Ay, chemicals, ma'am.
Di ba? Para lang ma-refer. Para lang kamura mag-ngingay mo. Water, oxygen, and CO2 pwede. But other minerals can also help with chemical weathering, not just those three. So one is oxidation. So oxygen combines with minerals to form oxides, or in other words, is rust. This weakens the bedrock, making it softer and susceptible to weathering. So imagine na, di ba, when rust occurs in metals, those metals which it attached to is very susceptible to breakage. Kay magkanipis, kay tungod sa rock, mura ginakaon niya ang particles sa katong metal. This also happens sa rock. Mauni siya ang mahitabo. Rocks will develop rust or will oxidize, then it's much more easier to break down. So, mauna siya ang mahitabo sa oxidation. So, the next one is the hydrolysis. Minerals absorb water and chemically change the composition of the materials. So, this happens only when there is a body of water or na ay source of water. As you can see sa picture, na ay mga stalactites. These stalactites are caused by stalactites ba? With water. This is what happens with hydration or hydrolysis. The next one is carbonation. It is when pollutants like carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and sulfuric oxides mix with rainwater, creating acid rain. Anybody knows acid rain? What is acid rain? Kuan lang sa inyo lang mga na-chismis sa kilid-kilid. What is acid rain?
Makahilantan nga ulan.
Pwede. Kay it brings pollutants. Pwede sa na siya. Oh, yes, very good. Corrosive na siya na ulan. Very good. Naday mo idea sa acid rain. So acid rain brings pollutants like carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfuric oxide. So imagine when it comes to contact with, skin, di ba? May irritate imong skin. So this is what also happens with rocks. Rocks or formations. When acid rain hits them, it degrades. Then there will be a lot of discoloration or breakage due to the carbonation. Acid rain is, kabalo, kisay ka sa acid rain. Kisay ka major cause sa acid rain?
Pollutants, ma'am.
Gabi, wala mo kabalo. Oh, ahagikan man tong pollutant. Be, ahagikan tong pollutant. So, smog, gikan sa smog, pero the major factor which causes acid rain is us human. Acid rain does not form on its own. It needs a lot of pollutants or a lot of production of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfuric oxides, ganyan. Oh, very good kanang sa mga exhaust sa cars. Oh, kana siya carbon dioxide from animals, but the major player in the production of acid rain is people. It creates a very bad situation for us, but we can still stop doing it, diba? So the next one is the leaching or dissolution. Water is unique and dissolves most minerals and metals in our environment. Diba, if madto mo dagat, if na may makita ngayon, it's like a beach walk. As you can see sa iyang foothold is mura siya ganipis nga degrade ang quality or hardness sa kaning pillar due to water. Water is a universal na it is a universal thing that can dissolve most of the solvent. Sorry, nakalimot ko sa term. So it is this universal solvent. It can dissolve any minerals. Grabe gini power ni water, no? It can create and cause havoc, and it also could help us. So the next one is the factors affecting the rates of weathering. So number one is the climate differences, the particle size and shape, and mineral and rock composition. So some rocks are resistant, So climate differences can affect weathering. Same as katong wind abrasion, katong ice abrasion, mo to siya ang example of climate factor nga major play ang climate difference. Number one is particle size and shape. Some particles that can cause weathering are small, some are big. This is what particle size and shape means. Then number three is mineral and rock composition. Some minerals are very resistant to weathering because grabe siya ka musokol. That is the right term. Musokol siya. Dili siya magpa-weather dali. Very dahil siya. So these are the three factors of affecting weathering. So this is the cold and the climate difference. Kani example, cold and humid climate, arid, hot and humid. So what do you think? Also na weathering happens in cold and humid places. Sa ganito? Cold and humid. So, ang pinakauna na ko mag-discuss.
Wedging.
Yes, frost wedging. Because cold and humid weather creates great precipitation and pag mugabi siya is cold. This is what happened. Sa humid climate, is water abrasion because humid climate creates a lot of precipitation pero as is lang siya, water lang siya. Then water flows into kaning rivers, riverbanks. This is what it is also factor in weathering. So kani next is arid climate. What happened? Unsa na weathering happens here? What kind? Or kanang isa lang? Oh, very good. April wind abrasion. This is what happened. Wind abrasion. Because arid climates produces a lot of wind, pero init siya. So the last one is hot and humid. Hot and humid produces a lot of water, and this this creates a lot of scenarios which will affect in weathering. So the next one is particle size and shape, meaning there are angular sediments that have more surface area and weather at a faster rate. Next one is the rounder sediments, which have less surface area and weather rate decreases. Angular sediments are can weather faster kay they can be dali na siya chop. That is what happens. Rounded sediments is compact. Bale dili sa dali buak. That is what happens. So, this is what I said kanina nga. There are minerals and rock composition that kanang musuko sa weathering. So, this number one is the strong chemical composition, meaning some rocks are resistant to weathering because of their composition. Example is granite with strong chemical composition. Kay granite is a very hard rock. It does not weather easily. Even producing granite kanang mga naa sa mga countertop, it's very hard to flatten and make it shiny. Kay musukol ang granite. Very hard ang iyang composition. Next one is the ones with the weak chemical composition. Those are rocks that have strong chemical compositions that are more resistant to weathering. Example of it is limestone with weak chemical composition. So that is all. Thank you. Then before we end the class, I will let you see a video. Wait lang, kaya ko sa ako sa set up.
All rock spires that rise up from the ground as if like magic. Spires were living and making in their youth.
Wait lang, ako sa
Throughout history, it seems like something out of a fairy tale. They are a part of a deep and complex underground cave city that people used to hide from invaders. The rock formation is a strange and mysterious rock formation in South Korea. It's a huge boulder that seems to have been cut down the middle mechanically, but it has been this way for years. It was likely created by some
Namay madunggan nga audio?
Na, ma'am, sir. Hinay lang.
Or wala?
Hinay, ma'am.
Ah, ako. Dili na lang sa laptop ako i-con. Balik na lang.
Oh, fine, great. There's engraving left on the rock. While it is a beautiful, naturally occurring formation, it also totally looks like a butt. This is a relic from the Ice Age, a rock formation on Mount Tai in the Shandong province of China. It is primarily composed of 3 huge boulders and 7 smaller ones forming a bridge, seemingly holding each other up with tension. It earned its name of Immortal Bridge because the fact that it has lasted so long, despite looking like it could just come apart at any moment. The marble caves of Chile are a rock formation that is truly unique. What looks like a lone rock outcropping in the middle of the ocean is actually holding a beautiful secret on the inside. At the foot of this giant block of calcium carbonate, waves have been slowly digging away, creating an intricate system of caves that look like a surreal scene from another world. The Arbol de Piedra is a lone standing rock formation in the middle of the Eduardo Alvora Andean Fauna National Reserve in Bolivia. Countless years of erosion have formed this strange-looking rock, whose name translates into stone tree. The rock tree stands more than 22 feet tall and is the only ascendable landmark in the sand dunes for miles and miles around. Karaj Bolton is the name of a boulder located on a mountain called Karaj in Norway. The rock is a small boulder of 108 cubic feet glacier deposit wedged in a crevasse. You're probably familiar with pictures like this because it is a super popular tourist spot for photos. It's an easy spot to hike to, but actually getting on the boulder requires you not to be afraid of the 3,228 feet fall right below the platform. Landscape Arch is the longest of the numerous natural rock arches located in the Arches National Park in Utah. It is a naturally occurring bridge and has been called the 5th longest natural arch bridge in the world by the Natural Arch and Bridge Society. And yes, that's a thing. Salar de Uyuni, the world's largest salt flat, is one of the most distinct natural landmarks in the world. The immense plains of salt are viewable from space and are a huge attraction for tourists and photographers. After rainfall, the plains turn into an enormous reflective mirror that creates a surreal landscape. The piles of salt ready for harvest only add to the uncanny imagery. The Giant Causeway is a huge oceanside area in Northern Ireland, composed of giant interlocking columns of basalt rock. Most of the columns are hexagonal in shape and perfectly fit together, creating a surreal, almost game-like environment. Scientifically speaking, the columns were created by ancient volcanic explosion, but it gains its name from the popular legend that the cliffs were built as a causeway by a giant in ancient times. In the Garden of Gods in Colorado Springs, there's a plethora of beautiful rock formations, but possibly the most iconic of these rocks is Balance Rock, a huge boulder that seems like it could just fall over at any moment. It is destined to fall eventually when erosion or other damages dislodge it from its gripping points. So go and see the Balance Rock before it falls over and becomes just another normal rock. There is another precarious rock, but this seems to be even more impossible. The Balancing Rock in Nova Scotia is believed to be standing for thousands of years. It's about 30 feet tall, and it seems to just be standing straight up out of pure will. This erupting rock is Fly Geyser, an accidental man-made geothermal geyser in Washoe County. The fountain was created in 1964 when people were exploring sources of geothermal energy and accidentally drilled into a well. The well was never capped properly and now has become a geyser that shoots water into the air, creating the ever-growing rock formation around it. It looks like a weird alien structure because of the thermophilic algae that thrive in the high temperatures Fly Geyser generates. To Okanga, aka Split Apple Rock, is a geological rock formation off the coast of South Island of New Zealand. It is a structure made of granite that looks almost like it was deliberately cut in half. This cleft was natural, though, with no help from any humans. What exactly could have cut this boulder in half is a mystery, although theories include water creeping into the rock, freezing, and expanding to break the rock. It's a popular spot for tourists to take the exact same picture photo every year. The Meraki boulders are unusually large and spherical boulders that are spread along the beach on the Otago coast of New Zealand. Local Maori legends explain that the boulders as the remains of eel baskets from the large sailing canoe that brought Maori people to the island hundreds of years ago. These stones are unusually hollow, but sometimes they are filled with calcite and quartz, which makes it look very interesting when they are broken open or exposed. These interesting-looking rocks are known commonly as the folding rocks. They are sedimentary limestone layers that once layered horizontally at the bottom of the sea, but tectonic plates pushed them together and forced them upwards. Torghatten is a granite mountain on Torghatten Island in Norway. As far as mountains go, it looks pretty uncharacteristic and lumpy except for the giant gaping hole right in the middle of it. According to legend, the mountain hole was made by a troll who was chasing a beautiful girl. Knowing he could never catch the girl, he shot an arrow at her. But the troll came through his hat to save the girl, and that hat turned into the mountain. Sounds pretty legit to me.
And now, for number one. But first, be sure to subscribe for new videos every day.
This abandoned Russian salt mine looks more like a scene from a trippy art house movie. The naturally occurring minerals in the abandoned mine create psychedelic patterns and structures which create unique swirls. While the naturally occurring art in these walls are beautiful, exploring the mines are not without danger. There were hazards of falling, landslides, and low visibility, but it might be worth facing to see this one-of-a-kind place.
So does anybody have a question?
Wala naman.
Wala, ma'am.
Wala
naman.
Okay. Sige. Thank you and see you on Thursday. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.